Just put in the chat where you're from, where you're coming from. Also, if you wouldn't mind putting, awesome, we got Seattle, California, Vancouver, St. George. I'm heading your way this weekend, St. George. Pennsylvania, Sweden, Texas. Man, what time is it in Sweden right now? Germany, Utah, North Carolina, Texas. Awesome. And how many of you were with us in Orlando? Just go ahead and put in the chat if you were able to join us in Orlando. I'm seeing these are all new faces. This is awesome. And some familiars.
Totally. So good to see. I love how this cause, emotions bring us together, right? Like, when are you on a call with people from Bulgaria? Not every day. So we're so grateful you're here, wherever you're joining us from. And yeah, looks like if you joined us at leadership, this was a promise that we made there, because we keep hearing more and more on how people are integrating the essential emotions coaching into their business and how it's working. And this has been so fun because, you know, you feel something is right. We brought it all forward. We launched this in September, and now we've had some time to get this happening in teams around the world and start to see some of the results and the impact of it. So that's what we want to share to you today. Just like this text is kind of like a sandwich, right? It's like squeezing in essential emotions coaching, and how can you bring that into your business? How can you sandwich it in with maybe what you're already doing, or rethinking what you're doing to take things to a whole new level? And I just love the possibilities that have come up. And so many of the stories have been so great that we're getting in. So we're going to have a couple guests here sharing with us today. And we want to keep hearing from you in the chat too, as we go along. If you've had certain experiences, drop that in the chat. But we're super grateful for your insight. And really, we're coming together because, you know, I think a lot of people feel like there is some untapped potential in their life and in their business. And how many of you would say, I think there's more potential in my business that I'm not tapping into. I think I have more ability to create value and do good. And that is where we're seeing essential emotions come into play, right? To help you tap into that potential, tap into that passion and purpose that you have in helping people get to breakthrough. And that's what we're going to do today in our time together. And we're going to dive in so that you can just see how that comes about. I love it.
I love that we have so many people on today. And just to sort of back up what Natalie was just sharing, you know, this is at the time to look at how you can up level and hold space for people, and this to release emotion with essential oils. And that's where this baby was born. So many of you might be familiar with this breakthrough worksheet. We've made this available, and you can even grab, if your screen is big enough, you can even grab the QR code there to get this free breakthrough worksheet. We went through many iterations as master coaches, the four of us, to bring to you this beautiful step-by-step process. And the thing is, a lot of people have come to us and say, okay, well, why would I need to do the, you know, essential emotions coaching certification if I'm already using this breakthrough worksheet? And our short answer to that is, wow, like, you are going to get so much more when you focus in on actually up-leveling skill set, mindset, and tool set with becoming a certified coach. This is a whole different level. It's a whole different, you know, we didn't even have the time in Orlando because this is, you know, we have a course, an online course with multiple videos, and multiple demos that were demonstrating this. So being an essential emotions coach is a different level than just working with the worksheet. So we just wanted to kind of share that out of the gate. But you all have access to this beautiful breakthrough worksheet. So let's talk and dive in right in to what's going on with humanity right now, what's going on in you. So there are three main, this is a proven sort of, market research and many like just fields of human interest kind of converging on. There's three main pain points that we experience in our human experience. They are our bodies, our money, and our relationships. And I'm going to break that down a little bit more. Why do we call them pain points? Well, they are emotion. So in order to be successful in any of those domains, and I'll bring those up again, our health or our bodies, our businesses or our money, and our relationships, the reason we call them pain points is because they're emotion-based. So if we're not seeing the success that we want in our lives in any of these domains, our bodies or our health, our relationships to our business, or how we attract and receive money as a human exchange, and also like our relationships with others. And we would include, for our intents and purposes on this specific call, that we're talking about relationships with your builders, your sharers, your customers, and your prospects. And because we're focusing in on your doTERRA business today, it begs to be just emphasized and underscored that your business is the success of your business is directly tied to how you regulate emotion. And I've been doing this I've been building doTERRA for over 13 years now. So have Natalie and Robin. And we know this. We've known this from the beginning, which is why we kind of started Essential Emotion and the class handout and all these things. So let's dive in a little deeper to that with that. Your why. You hear this a lot when you're building a doTERRA business. What's your why? And what we mean by that, and you can reference the work of Simon Sinek and others who really go into like, it all starts with why. It starts like, why are you doing this? Like, why would you want to build a doTERRA business? Why would you want to help people with emotion? And for us, it's just coming in, and Robin, I know you can back me up on this. We started together. Robin's my direct sponsor. She's my direct upline. We've built Blue and Presidential Diamond businesses. And we did it from like bootstrapping with emotion. Robin, you want to kind of dive into it?
Yeah, we were so clear on why we were doing this. And many of you know our story. You know that we lost a sister to suicide. And that just propelled our why into healing our own emotions, our lineage, our family. It was so clear. And when we partnered with doTERRA and we saw how doTERRA played a part in that they had expansive, supportive tools to help people quickly experience an emotional shift, it was like game over. That's all we needed.
We actually experienced that before we started sharing doTERRA as a business. We both signed up in 2008 and used the oils for 2 years and saw extraordinary shifts with what Robin is referencing. Not only in our own beings, but with our clients. We both had our own professions. We were seeing clients, and then also like our kids, our family, and to know that there is a direct link to, how I'm showing up as a mother and how I regulate emotion. Well, now that I've experienced this in my family and with myself, I want to bring it to the greater world. And that is our why. We're
passing on a legacy, not only to our own family, but we couldn't not then talk about it with other people. And when you understand, part of this coaching program is also the way we were able to make that link with doTERRA is because we went and we got educated on how oils helped with the emotions.
The emotional science.
And the knowledge of the science, the neurochemistry, all of that. And that's what then fueled the confidence and fueled our belief to go forward and put this out. And I really feel like that's one of the biggest things about this coaching program is it fuels your belief. It fuels your knowledge so that you feel like, oh, I can actually talk about somebody with this because I know the backing behind it. That's what really allowed us to really go forward. And we haven't looked back since.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to really.
And I just want to highlight one thing on that, Sheree, before we go forward. Sure. just for all of our friends here, are you seeing what their passion did to their businesses? Okay. They're talking about this passion, but I want you to be like an observer and take a look, because Cherie and Robin are presidential and Blue Diamonds with teams around the world. That doesn't happen by accident. They did do hard work, right? But it started because of the passion.
It was
And
fueled by that passion.
The why.
and the whole process. So I want to just point out, I think it's great to look back at, we look at the founders, US Founders 2.0. So I've observed a few things from that. And I just want to highlight this because how many people made it into Founders 2.0 from Hawaii in the first little bit? There was like 10 of the 17 first founders from Hawaii. And as I talked to them at the incentive trip and other places, I was like, wow, they're just clear on their passion and their why. That's it. And because of that, they have this specific why. They were all sharing that why, and people got behind that why. And I think a lot of times to be duplicatable, maybe we've shied away from this emotional side. And we thought, oh yeah, I'll talk to them about that once they get deeper. And what we're seeing in the day that we're in is people are ready for it now. We are in deeper days, right? And it is just needed right now. So this passion and you coming forward in this way, I think it really meets the need and people are resonating with it.
There's definitely a greater readiness. We were like, you could have thought we were like wearing two heads when we were talking about this in 2010, 2015, but now it's like a hunger, like Natalie said. So we have the tools that are capable of addressing these deep issues, stored trauma, intergenerational patterns, everyday emotional stress through the oils alone, right? But what we're doing now is we fine-tuned a process that allows people to pair what they're already doing with aromatherapy and using the oils in their own ways and in their own modalities with a simple proven process.
So before we go more into that, Cherie, I just want, as Cherie is talking more through this, I want you guys to just jot down in the chat some of the emotions you feel you and your team are battling with doing this as a business.
Yes. What's the doTERRA pain points?
Yeah, what's the PTSD that's coming up? And I say that because there are people that have experienced forms of trauma growing this business. With relationships that have gone bad, within their families, within their leaders, so what are the thoughts? What are the beliefs?
Robin, I would include myself in that. I don't know if you would, I'm sure. And I know not like we all have our own pain points, even though we have these higher ranks with climbing in and doing this business, which is so relationship based, so body based, and so health based. Those three pain points.
Money based.
We're in it. Right. And money. Yeah. Well, that's part of the 3 pain points, right? So when we're talking about doing a business based on health and wellness and leadership, there are going to be things that rise. And I would be concerned if they didn't.
We have rejection, unworthiness, and fear, not feeling good enough.
The whole key, and I've heard multiple business experts and coaches say that when you learn to regulate fear, it changes the game. When you can manage fear, you've won. You will get everything that you desire in time. So we've got this beautiful business that has the tools. So if you're doing doTERRA as a business, you just walked into getting the tools you need to rise. And what we've done is break it down for you with emotional processing so it gets even more powerful.
Yeah. And a lot of the comments are I'm seeing a lot of relationships with, this is a team-based business. You can't rise alone. You can't succeed at this business without the help of others. And this is not a solopreneur business model.
You've got people You now just jumped into, I know Robin and I have teams of over 100,000. I don't even know how many Natalie has. I think I'm nearing 200K, but we've got people that we don't have actual direct influence with, but we have influence with. And so let's talk about direct influence. Do you want to take this? We're going to show you ways you can integrate this with this first group.
Yeah, we want to hear from some of the leaders that have already integrated this and what they're seeing with their prospects, their customers, and the builders that they're working with. The impact overall, right, that it's having on their business. And so I asked Victoria, we're going to hear from a couple of people. So just to share, give us a vision, and maybe we'll just even stop the PowerPoint for a minute while you listen to Victoria of how this has changed your business so far. What are you seeing?
Well, I'm seeing a couple of things. It's almost like it's given me a whole new business. Like I see this becoming 50%, right? Because we have 50% physical issues and then 50% emotional. So it's opened up a lot of things. But what was really interesting is I have been doing these, some people call them spa days. I'm calling them spoil me events. And those have been really kind of, the products are on display, but we're doing a lot of aroma touch hand technique and neck and back massages and whatnot. And you can really get into people's emotions when you're doing that. And then you can book another appointment and say, hey, I'm a certified essential emotions coach, and we can take this offline and have another meeting. And I can tell you, work with you how to address that. So there's this whole other avenue that is open instead of just doing that one thing and talking about deep blue or something,
Right.
It's you've got these people right in your hands, so to speak. And it's just opening up this whole other conversation. And I've seen that. I have people on my team. I have one gal on my team who's a massage therapist and a whole bunch of other letters behind her name that I can't remember. And she's getting people to book sessions with her. She's gone through the program through that modality. So it's such a natural, when you're helping somebody heal in another way, it's very natural just to bridge over into, how are you doing? And then telling them that you're a coach and that you can take it to the next level for them. I had a gal in tears of joy and hope at my last Spoil Me event because she's got some trauma that she's working with, and we had a great call. And it was just like so amazing. She came for one thing and had no idea she was going to leave with this other, breakthrough, which was great. And as a leader, what I'm really excited about is I have a lot of people going through the program and they're having the same experience. So it's growing the team. It's not just growing my, individual business, but it's growing my whole team massively because a lot of people are taking this on because they see the benefit.
So Victoria, let's talk about what's happening for you. So I hear you saying like there was a whole other part of my business that I wasn't even addressing and wasn't even really bringing solutions for, that I'm able to bring solutions for now. And the spa nights are kind of conducive of opening up more of that emotional need.
Yeah. And, I knew the emotions part was there. And I don't know, this program has like empowered me to say, you know what? I'm actually a coach.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was like, oh, the oils work with emotions too. It was kind of this really tiny side thing.
I know.
Now it's a really powerful, real thing. Like I'm certified, like I have a certificate, I can show you. I don't know. It's very empowering to be a coach and know so much more than I knew before, and be able to bring it up with such confidence now. And I'm like telling everybody on my team, you've got to go through this program because I really foresee this becoming it might, I mean, with the state of the world as it's going, it could be more than 50% of the business. You know,
Right.
everybody's, having, some emotional challenges right now.
Oh, yeah, it's huge, right? If we even look at the physical stuff, how much of that is rooted in emotional? We are in an emotional epidemic, post-pandemic.
And that's an excellent point though, Natalie, because I feel like, if your gut is out of balance, it's going to cause emotional problems. And if you're emotionally stressed like this, it's going to get your physical body out of balance. So it's not that you need one or the other. You really need to have both.
Mhm.
And
It's the yin and the yang, right? And we may have been out of balance in this before. So Victoria, first of all, I just like to highlight that the confidence that you've been given, you guys, I'm her upline. I told her all of these things about emotions before, but what's the difference? She feels confident now. She went through the course and she got that confidence. And now she's coming forward in completely different ways.
Yeah.
So I think that
I would compare myself to you and say, well, I don't have all the training that Natalie has, but now I do. And I did one little side comment. I have a lovely gal that she's actually the massage therapist I mentioned, and she charged $80 for the session. And the person was like, I need it. Yes, great, let's do this. And she was like so thrilled.
wow.
It's also another revenue stream, right? Outside of enrolling somebody and selling some oils, it's like she got paid for her time as a professional, and she was just delighted.
So it adds credibility. It's helping her get paid as well and recoup her investment. What else have you seen to your other people on your team that are doing this process? How is it affecting their business? Anything else?
Well, I will say this, it's affecting them personally, right? Because as you go through the process with other people, and a lot of us we all did it on each other to tick our boxes to get through the program.
Yeah.
And we all had personal breakthroughs and personal emotional healing and growth. And then that just spilled over onto more confidence in our businesses. So it's really an elegant path of working on yourself and then helping your team and then your customers and then your business, and it all just gets better.
Yeah. It's amazing what happens when we work on ourselves. The ripple effect of that is huge. And I think sometimes we know that's the P of prepare, but getting to it anymore, how are we going to get to that breakthrough? And this process works. We're seeing evidence of it.
Yeah. But I would say the main thing is that the people who have gone through it feel so confident and empowered, and like, they've been knighted, go out and heal the world with the emotions. Really, I don't know why it's a funny thing, but that is the main thing I'm seeing.
But it's real, right? And people value that certification and the experience that comes with it. I love it. Thank you so much, Victoria. Super useful.
Victoria.
Thank all of you for doing this. The world needs it.
It's true.
Let's get into the nuts and bolts here in the meat. And we're going to show you exactly how to do what Victoria has been talking about. We're going to show you how you can integrate this process and yourself as an essential emotions coach to grow and expand your doTERRA business.
So fun.
Yeah. So let's start with prospects, right? Like this is always the looming question is, I'm sure if you don't have that question of where am I finding more customers, or the big question of where am I finding more builders, right? Those are always those big questions. And your team are also asking those same questions. So we want to give you some other perspectives and thoughts on how you can utilize this in this particular area of bringing more people into your world here and into your team.
And to me, this is all about just creating more value. When we have a prospect, what are we trying to do? We're trying to create the most value. And when their biggest pain is some of these things, boy, it helps us bring a lot of value to the table. And that's when people enroll. That's when prospects convert.
Yeah, so these are all just, again, like Natalie said, these are value adds to, like, we already know that the oils themselves are incredible. But just like what Victoria was saying, and I dropped it to the chat, like 80% of doctor visits are stress related. So most of the physical ailments, Victoria said it's 50-50. I would argue 90-10. 90% emotional issue and 10% physical, because most of those physicals are coming from an emotional root. So when people are, so the first thing is, obviously they need to be educated with that. And those sessions, look at those as sampling in a big way for people to experience firsthand how powerful these oils are, right? Like, you can give someone a sample if they're having anxious feelings. You can give them that wild orange and say, here, see how that works. Or imagine with that breakthrough session and a lasered oil specifically with what they're dealing with. What has that created for that person now? Right? So it's also fueling you as a leader of like, oh, these oils work. So this is why it's this beautiful circling around. So some of the offers and incentives you can also offer within this is having that larger enrollment kit. So when during a class, you can mention, or a one-on-one, hey, here are some options. Yeah. With this particular kit, I'm offering a free emotional breakthrough session for anyone.
What's so cool about that is you're investing in becoming a coach and offering that session and the time, but you're not having to buy $100, this $40 book or da-da-da. And that's not saying we eliminate books, but we're just saying this is something that you can put out there to lift that bar. Look at how doTERRA just brought out the diffuser to lift the bar to 150. What if you bring out the emotional breakthrough session to lift the bar to 400 for the people that really need it? They're like, oh yeah, I'll buy the natural solutions kit. And then I'm going to get that session for free, which is $80 value.
Yeah. And I just want to insert here, in case we weren't clear, that when you become an essential emotions coach, you can charge for your sessions. Victoria mentioned it. It's like puts you on the map as a practitioner of this process. And so you legitimately, we do not condone or encourage you charging to do a breakthrough session unless you are certified. And so this leverage piece is super powerful with prospects, street cred, if you will, in the emotional wellness space. And also being able to say, hey, like Victoria mentioned, I usually charge X amount for these sessions. And because I am sharing doTERRA and I believe in the power of essential oils to use them with these sessions, I offer, in lieu of this kit, or as Robin said, as a value add or leverage tool, I will waive that charge. And because I believe so much in this process and what it's done for people.
Yeah, we know that we have those little end of the month incentives when we're trying to, hit maybe a goal rank, or our leaders help them to hit theirs. And this is a very powerful tool to be able to utilize in those ways. I have a couple of leaders right now that are incorporating this in their classes. So one is doing it before they have a class. They say, come and experience an emotional breakthrough, and they're doing it in a group way. And then some are doing it at the end of the class. So after their people have been educated, and when they've said, okay, this is a coaching session that you can have with this kit or whatever. If you want to stick around after, we're going to demonstrate what that looks like. So again, this is just, you guys, we know that wellness consults, which we're going to get to in a moment, add so much value because it's personalizing and customizing. That's exactly what this is doing. And if you want a customer at the least for life, this is such a powerful tool for that. Not to mention this last bullet point, opening them up to building as an option. How many of you are seeing that when people have, the more powerful of an experience they have, and the more clout and understanding that they have with it, the more propelled they are, the more motivated, the more fueled they are to build, to go out and do this as a business. Well, can you imagine these powerful experiences, how much time you're actually condensing into a session to have them have an experience, have them see the power, have them equate, okay, this person is doing this for me. And if you say you can do this too, did you know that you could also get certified and help others do this very thing? Now you have someone that's thinking, okay, I can see my place in this. If it's even to just heal my own family, this is offering more value, more ideas, more opportunities for people to step into a builder position.
Right. So there's a lot of strategies we can incorporate with being able to leverage an essential emotion certification as a tool to expand doTERRA, because I know you guys want to kind of get into the nuts and bolts of how does this work. There is this, we talked about this, with prospects, they can get a larger kit with some of your sessions, or if it's an existing customer and they are going to do a wellness consult with you, which we'll talk about in a second. We know that the likelihood of somebody becoming a lifelong customer, which is how most of our unilevel checks pay out the most, is through unilevel commission. We know they are more likely to become a lifelong customer that you get paid on forever and ever if they get on 3 months of LRP initially. And so this is a way to get them on that LRP out of the gate, because you are addressing a pain point, pain being the operative word, emotion being tied to that pain. So if you can help alleviate that pain, then, and by crafting this, session for them and doing the breakthrough process, as well as crafting their 3 months of LRP, the likelihood you get paid on this person forever and ever is enhanced, I think like 70%. I can't remember the statistic they gave us.
It's huge. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And then as we move further into this, there's also, and I know Robin and Natalie can speak to this, we see people from multiple modalities coming into the space to become certified as an essential emotions coach. And it's like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for a way to incorporate the oils with my modality, and this is the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watch people that, they've been inviting people to come to their class that were, hey, they did sound bowls, or they did yoga, or and they're not ever coming to those essential oil classes that they've been inviting them to. But when they say, hey, I'm an essential emotions coach, I would love to, come to one of your yoga classes in exchange for you receiving this emotional breakthrough session, I think you would be so moved by it. They end up ends up putting them as peers instead of you being in this space of, oh, can you do this? Will you help me with that? Or will you show up for me? I really need, which is kind of that needy space. As an expert, that you're able to get these high level people seeing the power of the oils and the breakthrough and engaging. So I've seen this work on lots of levels, like even massage therapists that are like, oh yeah, I always trade with other people to get my work done, right? So you're like, I'd love to gift you a emotions breakthrough session.
And then they get so interested in the oils after that. They're like, what?
That leads them in, right?
That's a total great entry point for bringing people into the space of oils. So really what we're talking about is looking at where is your field of interest already? And if you're doing doTERRA as a business, you've maybe niched into emotions already. And
I loved how Michelle earlier, she was saying, hey, I'm a colon hydrotherapist and I'm integrating this into my hydrotherapy now. And she's adding so much value. I can see Michelle or others combining what they're doing to help people, bringing more value to the table so that you can do a typical hydrotherapy session for this much, but then you add an additional $50, $80 to add on that essential emotions breakthrough experience.
And they love
I'm
it.
seeing, I've always loved working with other coaches. It's because, you know, I'm a coach myself, and I love, you know, the biggest thing that coaches deal with their clients is getting to those core issues as soon as possible, right? And bringing those awarenesses up. And when they see this breakthrough process, it's like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been waiting for. I know Catherine on here, she was telling me she's a raw food coach, and she is having so many breakthroughs with her clients, incorporating the emotional side. Like the emotions are at such a core level with any type of coaching. So this is just such an easy integration for them to bring this in and incorporate. We'll talk about this coming up soon, how to incorporate that into their coaching package, enrolling with a kit, that these people can be enrolling in their coaching packages with oils because of these emotional breakthrough sessions.
If you have chiropractors or coaches or psychotherapists in your team and they want to be a little more hands-off, but you're a coach, you could go to that chiropractor and say, hey, how about we integrate my sessions with your people? If that chiropractor doesn't want to integrate, but you're affiliated with that chiropractor and they're on your team, this is a beautiful way. You could have like a little stack of cards or something on their desk, and you know, there's just multiple ways to combine it with existing modalities.
It totally helps those people that want to build that additional income that doTERRA can bring, but maybe don't have the time or space to do it. That's a great way to do it.
Because
Absolutely.
coaches, at the end of the day, they are still trading dollar for hours. They can only help as many clients as the hours they have in their week. So they love the option of having a revenue stream alongside that. And it weaves in beautifully. They feel very authentic and in integrity because they know that these tools support the work that they're doing.
I love that, Dawn. And like Dawn saying in the chat, like I see my naturopath wanting to refer people to me. This is what I'm hearing about. We've got one fitness coach that just launched, and she is integrating oils and some emotional breakthrough into her coaching package because she finds that's what gets people stopped up. So she sells a coaching package for $500 that gives them 4 weeks of coaching. They get a super powerful experience because they're getting her fitness coaching and they're getting oils and they're getting an emotional breakthrough session. So then when the next month comes up, those people are renewing that because they are getting their LRP and they get another emotional breakthrough session, and she's keeping people that way. So that leader actually ended up being one of the leaders of Jenica, and Jenica couldn't be with us today, but I wanted to share specifically something that I'd seen from her because she's so amazing. She's so gifted. She's been super focused on doTERRA, but she kept getting tapped out at silver. She was not getting the builders that she needed to get above silver. And she would try and launch somebody new, and it just felt like it wasn't taking. So she went through the coaching program, and on doing this, it helped her break through some of her blocks. She was like, I really am worthy to receive this. I really can create this. It shifted how she was thinking. And then she went on a trip with some girlfriends. And these girlfriends, you know, they all knew that she was doing doTERRA, that she was doing network marketing, but there wasn't much interest. But so instead of talking about doTERRA that she'd already talked to all these people about, she just offered there on this girl's experience, hey, she did one breakthrough session in front of everyone for one of the girls, and it was really powerful. And then she did a couple others that the girls wanted to do on the side. And so everybody got exposed to it. After the trip, she had one of her friends come to her and say, you know what? I know that the oils work, but I would have never done network marketing with you. I would have just never done it because it was network marketing. But when I saw and experienced that breakthrough session for myself, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. And so that girl that's working in this big corporate job now is on a 90-day plan to be able to transition and become Jenica's brand new builder. And she has super big goals and dreams, and she's going to do it as an essential emotions coach. And that's the way she's going to drive her business. Right? So cool.
Powerful.
cool.
So powerful.
Let's talk about some ways that you can take your existing customers into to fuel your unilevel commission. Let's be honest, like you want to keep them in that LRP, you want to keep them engaged. Let's talk about your new customers and doing wellness consults. This is brilliant.
Yeah. So I love doing these sessions during wellness consults. And I use the session loosely here because we have found, like, to do a formal emotional breakthrough session, we have noticed that it takes about 45 minutes, really close to that. But there are
emotional breakthrough, right? Not the wellness consult.
Yeah, the emotional breakthrough session. But so I don't really want my wellness consults to, to be too long. So I've really condensed it, but I've incorporated a lot of that process in the emotional breakthrough in these wellness consults. So when someone has come in, whether that's like a follow-up if they've already had the breakthrough session and we're just going over, okay, those oils that were identified, this is what we're going to put on your LRP and get them set up. But offering this as a bonus to set them. Cherie talked about when we have found statistically in doTERRA that when people are on for at least 3 months, they stay on LRP. They stay on because they're getting the points, they're getting the percentages, they're in that habit, they're doing that. So when you can offer this as a bonus of like, hey, for all of my customers, when they get on and stay on this loyalty rewards program where you're already going to get points and all of these things for at least 3 months, I offer a free emotional breakthrough session. Like, how powerful is that, right? It's another just value add. We already know that the LRP is such a great program for our customers. This is just a little extra incentive. And the way I like to use it is just like, I do a little mini session at that wellness consult. We identify some of those emotions, some of those oils, and then I say, okay, at the end of 3 months, so we've set up your wellness plan for the next 3 months. And at the end of that 3 months, let's do a follow-up breakthrough session and see where you're at and see if there's new layers that we can address. People love this. They love knowing that they're getting taken care of, that there's follow-up. They don't feel like, oh, you're just, I'm just coming into your team and you're ignoring. Like, this is showing you have an invested interest in them to see results, and people want to be seen and they want to be heard. And this is such an immense way of doing that.
Absolutely. And then even the Itovi scanner, and those of you who came to Orlando, we have the Itovi representative there, and we won't go into that in detail here for interest and time. However, they have all of the essential emotions book content on their scanner, pre-programmed. And so that can be an added tool, like for workshops or things like that, but also saying, hey, I not only identify, because Itovi is just an identification tool, but I take people through a whole process with this, whatever, like Robin said, whatever just came up for you, I'm going to now take you to the next level of how we can actually process that emotion and release it.
Yeah, and great clarification. Let me just answer that question that came up. The question was, am I saying to do 3 sessions for 3 months? No. If they complete 3 consecutive months of LRP, then I do 1 emotional breakthrough session at the end of those 3 months, once all 3 months have processed.
Yeah, that's a good point, because you want to make sure that they're not taking advantage there, right?
Right.
That they're actually completing the LRP.
And Robin, it feels doable to give them a little preview with that mini session wrapped into the wellness consult.
Yes.
And that can be super simple and not feel too heavy. And then you're giving an hour later on, right?
Yes.
After the 3 months.
Also, I want to add here, I do group wellness consults, especially if I have a wave of people enroll and they kind of all enrolled at the same time, like on a special, or think some bonus I was running promo. So I'll do it as a group. I'll get everybody on a group Zoom like this, and we'll pick one issue or ailment, even if that might even be physically based, that we can turn into an emotion, or even if they've identified the emotion, and I just give them a demo of what that is in a mini way that Robin and Natalie were just talking about. There's lots of ways to do that.
I have seen lots of people do the group where they're flipping through the Live Guide, right? And they do that in about 45 minutes. And then they have a form where people sign up for individual times. So if you just added to that group wellness consult, you take 15 minutes to show them a preview of what emotions, what we can help, how we can help you support in your emotions. Then people have signed up for their individual times to where you're dialing in on their LRP and their wellness consult page. Then you can let everybody know about this bonus for 3 months of LRP on that group wellness consult. And then you're bringing them all to a close. And a quick answer to how to do a mini emotional session is you really are just kind of doing the very top, the first 3 points on the breakthrough worksheet.
Just identifying it. You're not necessarily processing, releasing, and receiving.
You're just kind of acquainting them with the tools too, right? So I love that. And just, we want to keep going with this because, Natalie, you could probably speak, and Robin, you can speak to this a lot, but our whole thing is process, release, live free, right? And the whole idea is that if they're purchasing, if you do a package of sessions with them, it's more efficacious or beneficial to them to get a coaching package with you so that they can hit the live free, right? That they integrate a lot after they do just one session with you, and that is layered and more things come up. Hence the reason to be an actual coach, so that you have the tools and the support necessary to take people deeper and deeper. And they will form a bond with you, an authentic bond, whether they're a customer, a team member. And so you can get creative this way. There's, lots you can do here. All 3 of us are already coaches, and we've like, not just in doTERRA, but in other realms. And so we've been able to bring this into people who have no exposure to oils in our coaching practices. And they're like, wow, they've got the breakthrough worksheet and they're integrating at home, and they want to come back for more.
Yeah. And that is a good point. Of the reason why we like doing packages is just, banking more on what Sheree was saying, like that bond. I felt energetically, some of you like, oh, I don't want to be beholden or feel responsible. It's not that aspect. It's more of like the trust. Like sometimes in order for people to really be able to be facilitated with. So you're, as a coach, you're that guide, you're that midwife, you're that facilitator, and you can do more and help more when that trust is there. And sometimes that takes 1, 2, 3 sessions for people to really be in that space to incorporate more of that trust.
That's a great point, because we teach you about boundaries. We teach you about not taking people's stuff on. We teach you about, there are many skill sets involved in this process that they're not going to leech and glom onto you just because it's not trauma bonding or anything like that. It's like, hey, integrate this at home and come back to it. So yes, building that trust becomes really key. So let's move on and talk about how you can do this with your existing sharers and builders.
And maybe before we dive into this, we bring Delmar forward.
Yes.
So
okay.
Let's see her face. And Delmar, share with us how you've seen Essential Emotions change your business and team.
So first of all, because English is my second language, I always thought, what to say and what is the right thing to say when you work in emotion. And I always want to do it. But I'm like, what is the limit you can go? Thank you, because you guys have created something as structure and simplify that have removed that block for myself to be able to be completely full express with the oils. That's the number one I want to acknowledge, coming from, another culture and integrating this. into my business. And so number one, what we have done is we have called people who have not been active for 3, 6, or 9 months and said, hey, I am a certified essential emotion coach, and I have 10 sections that I would like to give complimentary. And, I know that it's been 3 months, or I know it's been 6 months, and I've been thinking about you, and I would like to offer these. And the response has been phenomenal. Like, really, when we call these people who are not being, ordering or in contact with us, they respond really positive. That's the number one thing. We create like a campaign of, activating, either way, in this point, it's, utilizing a complementary process with people, and then leaders who have not in the past felt, like your friend said, inspired to build a business because the multi-level, then that also when I have offer, and I just said, hey, I just got certified essential emotional coach, and I'd like to do a process for you, and you can experience a process that might liberate something that might be there for you. And then, they're open, they're excited, they're curious about it. And I got 2 or 3 people who were, I don't know about this, or building really slow, or not building at all, though they said they want to build, now ignited into really saying, wow, this is have a purpose. This is have a mission. This is something that really inspired me to build this as a business. So we do, so that's that is awesome. And also through my spa life, when somebody said, oh, the oil doesn't smell that well, then, like a mini section, we do have the aroma hand technique, and we bring them to the table to do a roll-on. I don't fill it up, the roll-on to the full. I do half of the roll-on actually, because I want them to be back. And so whatever oil they like the most or they dislike, we just introduce them into the emotional part. We say, will you be, are you curious to know emotional, what that, can means for you? And there is a reference of the oil and what emotional you can, you probably are working toward, or maybe you want to progress, or maybe you want to create a breakthrough. And people are open. They're like, wow, lavender, the oil of self-expression. Oh, wow. And they start exploring, and then we can create a follow-up section with them to do a full section with them.
Yeah.
So it's been phenomenal. It really, the fact that you guys put the questions, and I trust you 100%. Like, you guys are brilliant, and you work from the heart. So the whole structure, everything, it's just ready for us just to like ask questions and integrate it, and back and forth, and just meet people where they are, and move people as much as they want to move forward. And emotional is brilliant, and it's really have empowered my business 100%. It's the best, one of the best investment that I have ever made in my life, of time and income, and whatever, how do you say, certification, like one of the best investments. Yeah.
Of all the things that you've done, of all the courses that you've been through, it's made the biggest impact. I loved hearing some of the stories of people that you love and care about deeply, and that maybe they're just customers, but maybe they were those builders and sharers that you've worked with along the way that have been blocked or tired, or whatever the situation, you've totally taken them next level and like refreshed the relationship almost in some of these places.
Yeah, I have one builder that was completely stuck, Natalie, talking about that. And he like, really, like, we did a process with him, and he found out that there was a bully that was completely stuck when he was like 11 and 12. And he got to really see that, process that. And you can see, like, now he's doing his LRP, really getting into like building the business. He couldn't believe it, that he got to complete that right there. right? He got to really do the whole process right there with the question with us, with the oil he was smelling, with the meditation. It was like my heart was melting because he's a 22-year-old, with a life in front of his, and of him. And now seeing him completely, like, the promise is liberating him from whatever was holding him. And even a lady who said she paid this much money and this whatever she did, and she's like, oh, I thought that was complete, and it came up. And then finally she got to really process. So we have seen and those ones are builders that were stuck because this and that, and now they're thriving in a better way in the business. So yes, you're right. Thank you.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. I hope you guys can see that sometimes we do all these crazy things to get our people moving, but what if it just took one emotional breakthrough session and that brought the breakthrough, instead of like, oh my goodness, which incentives shall I use now? And what we spend so much energy going that direction when really there could be some simple integration like this.
Thank you so much, Delmar. That was amazing. We
Mhm.
might go slightly over, and I do apologize for that. We want to get to the meat of this that we still haven't completely explored. So it's 3 minutes to 1. So if you have to hop off, please know you can catch this recording, and we'll get that to those of you who are registered. We won't go too much longer, but this part's really important because this is the exciting piece for those of you who are trying to not just have a side income with doTERRA, but you're looking to replace and multiply, replace your existing and replace your existing income and then multiply it. This is where it can get magic with what we're about here. So,
yeah. And as we go into this, I've been watching the chat. There's been some questions about if I'm a therapist, to speak on the dual relationship. As a therapist, you cannot have the dual relationship is when your patient or client, you cannot have any ties to business with that. So many of my therapists are trading. So like if they have a therapist friend who's doing doTERRA, their clients, they are referring to that therapist is referring their clients to this therapist. So they have that. For coaches, there is not the dual relationship thing. So for most coaches, I guess there might be some out there that have that, but for most coaches, there is not the dual relationship hindrance that you have. You are able to enroll your clients as builders and sharers, and customers.
Love that. These team calls, like integrating it into team calls, it's a simple thing. I've got some people, like whatever the oil of the month, they start out with the emotional aspects of the oil of the month, or they do a team process on the team call. Hey, what emotion's coming up for you? Let's do the first 3 questions on the breakthrough worksheet. And it just helps people use their oils to release so that you can go forward and go to new levels, right? You could even do a full breakthrough session and show them the whole process on a team call.
absolutely, along with your team trainings. And we find that our leaders as a whole are maybe blocked in, very similar business building type. Some of the things that you guys referenced at the beginning of this, fear and how is network marketing perceived? And I've got all these generational issues. Well, everyone does, and everyone's experiencing, and everyone is learning to show up. And we always go into emotion. That is like the first line item when we go into our team trainings is what emotion are you experiencing? What blocks are you experiencing? Let's choose one and isolate it and move forward with that with this breakthrough process. And by the way, you can screen share the breakthrough worksheet with a fillable PDF, and they can see visually over Zoom how this works. It's brilliant because many people like me are very visual. And then Robin, do you want to I know you work this into a lot of your strategy calls with your builders.
Yes, this is one thing that I will say too, like when I'm talking to prospective builders even, that I'm like, hey, in our strategy calls, I'm doing these emotional breakthrough sessions. And that is such a value add. Like, they're like, really? Like, so to be one of your leaders, like, I'm going to get that. And I'm like, yes. And one of my new builders, she's this woman from Germany, and she was so gung-ho, and we were we were, you know, having our calls, and then there was, because of a lot of personal life experiences that she was going through, we got on one of our strategy calls. This was just yesterday, and she was frozen in fear, frozen, like debilitating. She was just like, I can't do this at all. She was just, again, going through a lot of personal things. And I said, okay, are you open to processing some of this fear right now? And she was just like, yeah. So I broke out the breakthrough worksheet. We did it right then. We did it in 25 minutes. And you guys, it was amazing. Like at the end of that call, I'm literally voxering Cherie and Natalie and Amanda, like ugly crying, because I'm like, this is so amazing. This process is so incredible. And because I saw in that moment, by the end of that time, the joy, the gratitude, the hope. It was a total 180 shift that I witnessed right then and there. And it was in that process. And I know that part of that was the skill that I have been doing those regularly. And so I've gotten really good at condensing and utilizing that into my strategy calls. But how many of you, by raise of hand, when you're getting on a new builder, new builders at first, within their first 1 to 3 months, they are up and down like a roller coaster. Like, I'm in, I'm out. Can I do this? Can I not? Like, and it's like, yay, I have someone that's excited. And then the next day they're like, oh my gosh, they don't want to do it. I'm done. Like, it is that game is real. And so having a tool like this, that in your strategy calls, you can like talk them off the ledge and just process right then and there to get down and dirty to what the real issue is, that has nothing to do with that leader, that has nothing to do with their husband not loading the dishwasher for them. Like, getting to that root right then and there, it's like, okay.
And I think the breakthrough worksheet neutralizes, and we teach you how to neutralize, because you have a lot of emotional exchange between you and your sharers and builders. And oftentimes you need to, we teach you how to normalize and neutralize so that you're coming to them from a completely neutral space, and that you're saying, hey, I know that what we're experiencing is an emotional exchange. It's really not about us. It's just there's an emotion here that we need to clear together so that we can move forward. Part of this is mine, part of this is yours. And then if you feel like you're too close to it, you can actually choose another essential emotions coach in the directory to work with your sharer or builder, so that you can remove yourself from the equation, and really they can get to the heart of it, and which I've seen people.
You don't want any attachment, right? And that can be hard for sometimes if you are working with someone to be too attached to outcome. If you can't do that, can't go to the neutral space, then yeah, find another leader, crossline, that you can trade, and you say, I'm going to help your leaders if you can help mine.
Absolutely brilliant. So let's move to our team education. So these are your existing, unless you had anything to add, Natalie, here.
No, that's perfect. Go. You're great.
So we're talking about continuing ed. A lot of us do continuing ed, where we have a series of classes that people can attend online or in person. Most of us have moved to the Zoom platform for this. Again, you can bring in the breakthrough worksheet like we're doing right here and screen share the breakthrough worksheet with a fillable PDF live. And maybe that's one of your continuing ed classes that you're, as a coach, you're saying, hey, I'm an essential emotions coach, and this is another aspect of what we promote and within my doTERRA team. It's part of our culture. It's part of what we're doing. It's part of our mission to help release emotions and help people live free. I would love for any of you who want to be a guinea pig, that's not the right word, but who want to be on the hot seat. And you can process a person one-on-one while they're group, and get that recorded and posted, or you can do it live, or you can do it. We found it's more effective to have somebody volunteer rather than take an entire group through, but they can still obviously benefit by filling out the breakthrough worksheet on their own. And you can share our breakthrough worksheet in your continuing ed ad nauseum.
It's so powerful. Cherie, I placed some photos. We're going to look at those really quick, but you can also, they're on the next slide. Just kind of seeing what this could look like, right? This one on the left was a builder training, And I took the little, the emoji face, the feelings guide. I taught them quickly how to use that in 2 minutes that I'm holding up right there. And then we went through a breakthrough process with the leader that was over that brought these girls there. And they all got to witness the process, go home with the worksheet. And boy, that team has broken through. They've been at a standstill for a long time, and that was breakthrough. This on the right is Russian groups on the incentive trip that one of them had an experience, and they just came and said, hey, this other girl right here in the white dress, she needs an emotions experience. Well, I didn't have to I did the experience and everyone else observed. See how everyone else is watching while the girl in the white dress is having an experience. That was super instructional for that team and just helped that builder breakthrough and helped them see how they could integrate it. It can be that simple.
I love how Maggie said that she incorporates like that's a gift for people attending their continuing education classes. I think that's brilliant. Like if they're doing all those classes, the live demos, you guys, that's where what Natalie was just talking about. That's really where it's at, where people can either witness themselves or just by the observing, they see how powerful it was. Those of you that were in Orlando with us, you saw how powerful the demo was that we did. And that was just observing. So can you imagine when you are facilitating, when you're experiencing, it's so life-giving. And when your leaders can also be coaches, you guys, this fuels them. This fuels their belief. This fuels their confidence. This fuels like it's just an ongoing belief train when you have such a powerful experience like this, because there's just no disputing it. It's so visceral difference before and after these sessions.
Absolutely. And just to circle back here, you can also do iTovi scans with these live settings. And, I know Tovi is a little bit more of an investment, so we won't get into that too much other than to say, this is the magic. For those of you who are at our Orlando session or who even watch our Zooms, when we do these demos, you can literally see the person's face just completely change. Everyone's watching it live. Mm-hmm. You can see their countenance change. You can see that the emotion actually release in real time. And
I love how Dawn was saying earlier, she started giving these free intro breakthrough sessions to people, and now she's going to bring it to this group session because it's a witness. It's real witness. People can see it and experience it, and they see that change.
Absolutely. So that's basically our expansion piece. Only that to say, I just want to highlight a couple of other values that we maybe didn't get to about certifying. We help you release your, I should say, up-level your active listening skills. Mm-hmm. So because we're in a people business, this is relationship building. doTERRA is a relationship building business. Many of you shine at that, but you might be hesitant in your confidence as it relates to asking for money. Helping people, holding space for people. There's a whole thing with that we teach you in our online course, which is very self-paced. Also, this is going to expand your emotions and oils knowledge. So when we're looking at you being confident, there's an art to this that you attach to resources, and you have a landing page and pad to work from with these tools that allows you to become more of the expert. And then, of course, you're going to leverage your own strengths. We work a lot in doTERRA with Strengths Finder. Many of you have this desire that you want to help people with breakthroughs, and you're not sure how your strengths fit into that. We definitely teach you how to expand your own strength space in your own way to personalize this program for yourself. And then, of course, you're just a guide. We've kind of emphasized that. You're not telling people what to do. You're teaching them how to access their own intuition so that they get their own answers, and you're empowering them to pursue that and integrate that. So you, in a way, are a space holder. You're teaching and modeling appropriate emotional boundaries, and you're also bringing them to their own answers. And that's a whole different thing as a coach. Being a guide as a coach, we actually considered this, calling this like essential emotions guide, but that wouldn't pack the same punch. And you know, certifying as a coach is more powerful, but really what we're doing is teaching you how to be an unobstructed guide to bring people to their own answers and not getting attached to the outcome. And then the magic of this whole thing is the community support. We've got hundreds of people who are certifying or in the process or have certified who are in our Facebook community. We're doing a coaches retreat next, what is it, April 17th? I forget the exact date.
April 17th through the 19th. Yep.
Luxury retreat. So we attach you so that you to a group and a community so that we can go on live. We do a live training like this every single month where you could come in and answer questions. You can see a demo model to you live, because we want you to find your own flow with this. We want you to make this your own coaching practice. Okay. We want you to bring in your magic, your essence, your emphasis in your own way. So that's why we like to show you a lot of different ways people are doing this. And of course, you're getting peer support. We're all in this together. And we're finding that, you know, you can trade sessions with other people who are certifying, because you have to do 10 sessions to get certified. So let's move into the nuts. And oh, by the way, because you're charging for these sessions after you certify, you can recover your investment that you put into this program by doing sessions. So it's easily
not to even mention all the people that have already recouped their investment and then some with the breakthrough that they're having with builders and customers and prospects.
Yeah.
It's going to come both ways.
It's not an even dollar exchange, because it's going to leverage your rank advancement in doTERRA for sure. So thanks for adding that, Natalie. So
and I would even say with, you know, the value, back to the value of certifying, what I'm hearing from, if you heard from Del Mar and Victoria, Jenica, the biggest thing is the confidence. Like that is sometimes what is really holding us back. And sometimes just having that boost of like, okay, like I can do this. It's that boost of confidence of, I'm gonna talk to more people. I am gonna do this. I am gonna actually put that goal back on my vision board, because now I have a different tool set to go towards that.
Yes, thank you for that. That's so important. And just so you know, when you become an essential emotions coach, we've talked about, this is, by the way, we're expanding this globally. Robin and I are headed to Asia. Half of our team went to Australia to roll this out. We've got people where you guys are going to South America, Natalie and Robin. So this is going
Europe
all over the world.
next month. Yep.
Yes. Europe next month.
Rolling out. People are, you guys, this is the universal language is emotions. There's just not a human on this planet that is not in need.
It's not dealing with this. Exactly. So if you want to hit that QR code there, you can go to our website and see exactly, there's a whole checkout process. You can learn more. You can watch live recorded demos. You can see some of our testimonials of people who have gone through the process. It's right there on our website on essentialemotions.com/coach. What we're bringing to you is master level coaching training. And so with our combined experience, it's over 70 years. So we're not just teaching you how to process oils with emotion. We're going into how do you hold space for someone and all of those things that I mentioned before. And also you're able to do this at a self pace. So Natalie, do you want to speak to that pacing a little bit? Because we found different things.
It's so powerful. We know that all of our lives function differently. And so the content of this course is not overwhelming. You can, in fact, we just announced a day, if you live near us in a couple of weeks, we're going to sit down together and you could do the course with a bunch of people gathered in the room, and we'll watch parts of it and we'll practice the demo together and ask questions together. We've got those options, but it's doable and it can fit the world. If you're running for Founders 2.0 right now, and you're like, I just need to say that I'm doing this and get a little bit of intro, and that's all I need, great. Then you have the time and the space that you need. But I love how it's fitting into the space that people have for that. And you could complete it in a weekend if you wanted to. And then you just have those 10 sessions that you're going to get, and you could swap with other coaches to get those sessions. So it's really feasible.
Yeah, so you've got the online portion is where that is self-paced. So all of the content is online. And then monthly, you have the opportunity to join us to observe those live demos, to get your questions answered, to talk, to hear what your peers are doing. And then that Facebook group community is filling in the gaps in between.
And that just helps meet our world, right? Meet the needs. We all want stuff delivered to us right when we want it delivered to us, but we also want the community. And so that addresses those two needs.
Absolutely. So really quickly, this is our price, $597. You can get $100 discount when you go to the checkout if you use the word leader. If you want to break that into 2 payments, then you can do leader with an exclamation point. I know this is our slide from Orlando, so we mentioned that our deadline to get this $100 off was March 31st. We can definitely extend that, and just looking at, it's only a couple of days away, so we can definitely look at extending that out a little bit. But I want to just highlight here that we have like diamonds who are doing the training with their leaders.
Yeah.
We have silvers and golds who are taking the people that they need to strengthen as elite and doing the training with them. And they're working together and making strategies and how do we roll this forward? How do we support each other? I just wanted to offer that also, like, this isn't a program you can like share 2 people on. It's each one of you need to purchase your own certification. To get the certification, each of you need to purchase your own program to get certified. Natalie, do you want to talk about an event that we have coming up? I believe it's April 11th.
Yeah. So, Sharon just dropped the link in the chat right there. But that is if you are around Utah and would love to experience the whole course in a day. We've got a lot of people that are like, if it's an online course, I just don't know when I'll get to it. And I would rather just come and sit with peers and finish it and go through it. And we're just going to make this an experience where we go through the course online in that day. We'll do the live demos right there, so you can be seeing it live and experiencing it live, asking questions and really integrating. So if you're one of those, I need to do it in person. If you're near us, great. If not, drive in, fly in, whatever you need to do to be with us Tuesday, April 11th. That goes from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
So yeah, if you don't want to watch all the videos on the online course and you want to bust it out in a day with people around you, we hear you. We got that feedback from convention. So you can still get access to the online if you come to the one day. You can still get access to our online course as a reference, but you've got the training done that day. You're done with it. You just need to do your sessions for people. 10 sessions for people, do the training online or in person in the one day, and then do complete 10 sessions with at least 3 different people, and you're certified. We've had people do it in a month.
So Michelle asked, can I go if I purchased the online already? So one thing I was thinking about this morning, because I got another one of those questions, is maybe we can add a possible attendee, and then if we have space, we could. So we'll look at adding that to the live one day training link. Okay. And participating in the other events that we have around the world, you're just going to go to Essential Emotions, and then there's a link to events right there, and it will take you to what you need. Some of those, if it's enough ahead of time or we don't have the exact details, it's almost like, hey, notify me when this is up. Are we ready for a little Q&A? We want to answer any other questions that you have.
And I do need to say, I absolutely have to hard stop this at 1:27. So Natalie and Robin, you can continue, but I have another obligation. And for those of you who have other obligations, we are recording this, and you can come back and watch this later, even if there were things you didn't quite catch while we were saying it and want to go back and rewind. I encourage you to do that.
And then, so I'm just going to go through some of these questions on the chat, and then anyone who wants to add to that or raise your hand, you're welcome to do so. But one of the questions is that they are wondering if we're going to have more of those 1-day intensives, Natalie, those live.
Yeah, so we had, you know, people request that at leadership. And so this is the first one that we're doing, but we would love to. So if it goes well and there's demand, we'll put one on in May.
Great. And then someone is asking, does one session still need to be recorded? Yes. So for the certification, one of those 10 have to be a recorded session. So we are looking at your skill level and seeing that you actually know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So that's why one of them does need to be recorded. And we aren't doing anything with that recording, but observing.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, there are some people that are the in-person training type. I personally love online. I like to do it at my own pace. I like to double speed. I like to do it while I'm, you know, so we are just fitting also, if you're like, you can't make the in-person, it's okay. Like the online is in place, and we did it in a way of holding your hand like we're there with you.
And it's so powerful. You guys are going to love it. Nothing like it.
And
Nothing like it.
the fillable PDF you get as a coach in training. So once you sign up to be a certified coach, you get access to all of our tools, which is one of those is a fillable breakthrough worksheet where you can write in time if you're doing a Zoom with someone or a group, fill that in.
Love it. Michelle's asking.
Oh, go ahead, Natalie. I was just putting the price there for you all to see. We suggest you start at $40. That's just if you're, starting out, and then you can go charge up from there.
Mhm. So Michelle's asking for a quick elevator pitch for an essential emotions coaching session. So this is what my elevator pitch sounds like. Hey, with all the emotion that's going on around right now, what would you love to break through for you? And what would you say if I told you I had a process and we can work through that in about 45 minutes? And now that I'm an essential emotions coach and I can help you through that process.
Yeah. Mine is, I'm just paying attention, just like I would like with sampling people with oils, like I'm paying attention to what is happening in people's worlds and which loved ones are suffering with what, or I'm paying attention and listening to what people are struggling with, and just simply coming to them and being like, hey, I've heard you mention quite a few times that you've been struggling with this or this or this. Are you open to getting to the core issue of that and releasing it and moving through it? So keep in mind, there's different personalities at bay. Natalie has a very different personality and strengths than I do. With my personality type, I can be more bold with my people. They expect that from me. I can't be as soft as Natalie is with hers. You may not be as bold as I am with mine. So this is where you get to play, and that's part of the certification process, and part of those 10 sessions is refining that message. We could give you our elevator speech, but it's going to land differently with you and with your people. It needs to be authentic, and it's sad to say, I just have to tell you, it's one thing you have to develop as you go.
I put this in, there was an identified person who says, when they try to stay neutral in session, they feel like they're detaching and the person doesn't open up or extend themselves. What am I doing wrong? You're not doing anything wrong. But when we say neutralize, what we're meaning is don't take on their emotion. Clear yourself. We teach a process for prepare in how you clear yourself prior to a session and hold space for that person's emotion. That doesn't mean you're not expressing deep empathy, that you're not in that with them, but what you're not doing is putting it into yourself.
Enmeshing.
So, enmeshment can be a big, or transference is what it's called in the psychological space. What we're really talking about is neutrality in the sense that you're not judging them. You're not going into their emotion with them. You're holding space as an empowered guide, but you're also being very deeply empathetic. These are skills we teach. These are things that we demonstrate. And every person is different. My top strengths are in strategy. And so I don't always go like some people, it's like that those of you who are high in empathy or some of the relationship building strengths might recognize how you have that tendency to maybe over identify with someone else's emotional state. Totally normal. Mothers do it all the time. And so all the more reason to get this training so that you can see how other people are navigating this space.
I love that. And just for some of you that were wondering, how do I intro the breakthrough session, or how would I introduce myself if I'm a coach? I just put in 3 of our coaches and what they had said in the Facebook group. So you can kind of see this is what they have to offer and bring to the table. And Cherie, I loved what you dropped in, how simple and you're direct, Robin. It's so great. But you're right. We all just find our own way.
I
And
love,
you do that naturally.
yeah, the neutrality is really key to this work. We're not saying become robotic and not feel. We're saying, hey, level the playing field, because people will feel how you feel about their emotion that just surfaced if you cannot stay in inner alignment.
Just being unattached from whatever is happening there. And if, again, you can't do that, I can't process my kids a lot of times. I'm too in it with them, and I recognize that, right? But I can active listen. So there's so many of these skills you guys are going to see in your homes, in your relationships, in your marriages, definitely in your leadership relationships. The tools and skills you learn as a coach are going to bleed into every facet of your life. And that is the real value here. We just touched on the doTERRA business side in this call. There are so many facets that we touch on throughout the course.
Thank you so much. Dawn is a coach in our coaching program right now. And all you did was a worksheet, and that's how they're feeling, is invited to come up with their own insights. It's just like, remember before you did any mentoring in doTERRA, you thought, oh my goodness, could I ever do that? And you have the format, and it's so simple. You can just drop into the process and trust the process and take people through this process. And it's magic when you bring your passion and a proven process together. Any other input from you, whether you're a coach already and you're on this call and you had other ideas, or any other questions before we wrap? The online course, the meat of the content takes 6 hours. There's 6 hours of bonus content that it's helpful to see after you get your footing, but not required. And then 10 sessions. So those land between 45 minutes and an hour. So really, if you're looking at it, you could do it in 16 hours, or if you want to absorb all that bonus content, that puts you at 22 hours total commitment.
And we do advise you to at least come to one live Q&A demo as well.
Yeah. But we end up getting people every month because they're like, this is so useful to me. This is so helping.
You do not charge for those sessions until you are a certified coach. So you can trade, you can do all sorts of things, but there should not be any money exchange until you are certified. Great.
I know. I love it, Christy.
We appreciate you guys so much. This is such a wonderful crowd that this work attracts into. And so we know where all of your hearts are at. And we hope to see many of you who aren't in our coaching program to join us. And we're just furthering this movement with or without you, but we hope it's with you.
We do. We need you. We need your unique gifts and skills. I love what Jeremy said at leadership, that there's only one in all of the universe. with the amazing gifts and skills and strengths that you have. And there are people waiting for you. And as we see the things happening around us and really realize what it's from, right? It's from a lack of head and heart and that connection and releasing what is needed to be released. And when we go about and just do our little part of helping that come forward, the world becomes a very different place and a great place for the people we love and our children and everyone else. So grateful to be on this journey with you. Hop into the coaching program. We'll be with you like in a couple of weeks for the Q&A. So hop in and we look forward to much, much more. Lots of love.
Guys there. Love you.